Canadian government scholarships for 2026 are now open, offering fully funded short-term study and research opportunities at Canadian universities and colleges for eligible international students. These programs are administered through Global Affairs Canada and EduCanada and are designed to strengthen international partnerships, expand academic collaboration, and help students gain Canadian educational experience without the burden of paying tuition in Canada. The scholarships operate through an institutional nomination system, which is different from most scholarships where students apply directly. For these programs, a Canadian post-secondary institution must submit the application on behalf of the student through the My EduCanada portal. Students first need to identify a Canadian host institution, connect with the international office, and coordinate with their home institution to be nominated. Graduate students planning a research exchange also need to secure a Canadian faculty supervisor and obtain a formal invitation letter. The 2026 scholarship cycle includes three main streams. Study in Canada. Scholarship supports students from selected countries across regions such as parts of Asia, Europe, the Middle East and North Africa, and Sub-Saharan Africa. Emerging Leaders in the Americas program, known as ELAP, supports students from Latin America and the Caribbean and focuses on building human capital and strengthening ties across the Americas. The Scholarships and Educational Exchanges for Development Phase 2 program, called SEED 2, is part of Canada's Indo-Pacific strategy and supports graduate research exchanges for students from ASEAN member states, Pacific Island countries, and Mongolia, with an emphasis on work aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals. Funding levels depend on program, duration, and academic level. Study in Canada. Scholarships can provide 10,200 Canadian dollars for 4 months and up to 14,000 Canadian dollars for 5 to 6 months at the graduate level. ELAP can provide 8,200 Canadian dollars for 4 months and 11,100 Canadian dollars for 5 to 6 months for graduate students. SEED 2 provides 10,200 Canadian dollars for a minimum 4-month research period and 12,700 Canadian dollars for 5 to 6 months of graduate research. Scholarship funds are intended to cover essential costs, such as round-trip airfare by the most direct economical route, health insurance during the exchange, visa and permit fees, living expenses like housing and food, local transportation, and required books and supplies, excluding major equipment like computers. Canadian host institutions also receive an administrative amount per scholarship to support implementation. A key tuition rule applies. Students remain enrolled at their home institution and continue paying tuition there. The Canadian host institution waives tuition for the exchange period, and credits earned in Canada typically transfer back to the home program. To be eligible, applicants must be citizens of an eligible country, be enrolled full-time at a post-secondary institution in that country, and remain tuition-paying at their home school throughout the exchange. Applicants are not eligible if they hold Canadian citizenship or permanent residence, are already enrolled in a Canadian credential program, or are receiving certain Canadian federal grants. Deadlines for the 2026 to 2027 academic year are March 31, 2026 for Study in Canada scholarships in ELAP and March 24, 2026 for SEED 2. Selected students may start as early as August 1, 2026 and no later than February 1, 2027, with all activities completed by September 30, 2027. Successful applicants are typically notified through their Canadian host institution, and funds are generally disbursed after arrival, so students should plan for initial expenses early in their stay.